Yo, what is up? This is DevineYGO, and gonna be bringing you guys an update to my MERMAIL Atlantean deck. And so this is the profile I actually took to the OKC regionals. And if you guys want to see my vlog and my experiences with the regionals, I do have the video up on the channel, and yeah, I'll leave a link to it in the description below. But yeah, as you guys can see, the list is here on the screen, and I'm sure there's some choices that some of y'all probably disagree with heavily, and I understand. This deck is very it's difficult to build because there's so many options we can go for, and there's so many deck building routes that we can take to build the deck, and yeah, it's just a lot of different avenues we can take. So this list, to summarize my experience with the regionals, the deck felt good. Except for like maybe 2-3 games that I had at the regionals where it just felt bad. I bricked game 3 2 rounds in a row, and it just felt so bad, but I mean, it happens. I feel like I personally played to the best of my own abilities during the regionals, so I felt good about my my performance overall. The deck felt way better, and like in the vlog, you guys will see that I was actually struggling with my list for a bit before regionals, and yeah, playing regionals with this list in particular just felt way better than any build I've ever had previously up to that point. But anyways, as you guys can see the list, I'm just gonna run through the names and the ratios real quick, and then I'll give my explanations on the cards I feel need explanations for. So we got one Mooling Glacier, we got one Deep Sea King Coelacanth, 2 Poseidra, the Rumbling Atlantean in the main deck, triple Teus in the main, 1 Area, the Water Channeler, we got triple Dragoons, double Pike, triple Abyssrine, 1 Gund, triple Minstrel, 1 Butterfly Fish, 1 Armored Shark, triple Shadow Squad, triple Deep Sea Diva, 1 Heavy Infantry, triple Prince, 1 Fishborg Launcher, double Talents, 1 Callby, 1 Kraken, 1 Mizuchi, 1 Triana, triple Imperm, and 1 Virtue Stream. The extra, we got 1 Agerine, the Dragite, 1 Poseidra Abyss, 1 Gaios, 1 Dark Knight Lancer, 1 Atlantean Spirit, or the Abyss Strike, the Atlantean Spirit, 1 XC Armor Fortress, 2 Bahama Shark, 1 the Virtue Dragon, 1 Totally Awesome, 1 Zealantis, 1 Mermail King, 1 Coral Anemone. My voice, I don't know what happened to my voice right there. 1 Abyss Lacia, and then for the side deck, the 3rd copy of Poseidra, triple Lancia, 1 Ghost Sister, 1 Heavy Infantry, double Blink Out, triple Eclipse, 1 Cetus, and triple Barrier. Okay, so going through the main deck in terms of explanations, because if you guys are here for the list, I mean, here's the list, y'all see it. But yeah, for the explanations, Mooling Glacier, I feel like it's standard, but I hear a lot of people are actually cutting this card out of their decks, out of their lists, and I personally do not agree, because going first, it's great because you can easily manipulate your graveyard to have exactly 5 waters in grave, and Mooling Glacier coming out rips 2 cards out of your opponent's hand, ripping out potentially hand traps or their starters or their board breakers. It's just really good going first. And even going second, you can still set up your graveyard to have 5 waters, and Mooling Glacier can rip out any hand traps in their hand that will be like more interruptions for you to work around. So Mooling Glacier, I think, is still good in the main deck for going first and second. Going second, it can still rip hand traps. Going first, it can rip hand traps, starters, or board breakers. So Mooling Glacier is just too good of a card to cut, in my personal opinion. And then we have Coelacanth. So I know there's a divide amongst the Mermail community right now, and a lot of players are opting to cut the Coelacanth, while others are keeping the Coelacanth. And as you guys can see in the list, I am keeping the Coelacanth. My playstyle of the deck, I do personally believe it's a must, because under Droll and under Shifter, 2 of the like most devastating hand traps for this deck, Deep Sea King Coelacanth helps you build a board through those. Like, it helps you build a board easily through those. Because if you don't have access to Coelacanth, then it's like it becomes where you need specific cards to build a board through Shifter and through Droll. And it just, Coelacanth is literally just the easy way out for me personally. Like just a simple way of putting it. And the fishes we are running are Butterfly Fish, the Double Pike, the Armor Shark, and Fishborg Launcher. So the reason why I'm playing, well, I mean, the 2 Pike is obvious. Even though most lists say that if you run Coelacanth, you have to run 3 Pike. And I honestly would be running 3 Pike, but IRL, I only own 2 copies, so that's why I'm playing only 2. If I had a 3rd one, I would definitely be playing the 3rd one. And then Butterfly Fish, this is a tech option I've been messing around with, and I personally like it. It's not needed, I would say, but I like having it in the deck. I guess in a sense, for my combo lines, it is needed, because we specifically needed a 4th fish in the deck to summon off of Coelacanth, because I didn't want to be summoning Armored Shark, because if I have to summon Armored Shark, it ruins the plays that I normally go for. So that's why I run 4 fishes in the deck for Coelacanth to summon. But aside from that fact, Butterfly Fish is also really nice because it's essentially fodder for 2 discards. Because if it's sent to the graveyard or to activate a monster effect, you can add it back to your hand. And then it also has a little neat graveyard effect where if a monster is sent to your graveyard, except by battle, while this card is in the graveyard, you can discard 1 card for cost, special summon this card. So if you find yourself in a weird game state where you have no ways to discard Dragoons in your hand, no ways to discard Heavy Infantry in your hand, no ways to discard Prince in your hand, then you can use Butterfly Fish's effects where if your opponent, like, I don't know, let's say uses a card effect to destroy or send a monster you control to the graveyard, you can use Butterfly Fish, discard the Dragoons, the Infantry, or the Prince in your hand to summon Butterfly Fish back from the grave, and then you get to trigger your Dragoons, your Infantry, or your Prince. And then I'm playing the 1 Fishborg Launcher. I know some people are playing the Harpooner if they're playing Fishborg, but I like Launcher because I like using it to go into Dragite. It's literally my only way to go into the Dragite. And I know Abyss Pike plus Harpooner also makes Dragite, and plus I also don't have a 3rd Pike, so that's another reason why I prefer Launcher. And also Launcher can bring itself back out from the graveyard, so it works as an extender if you're able to get it into the grave. So it's still also an easy access to Dragite using Launcher and Coelacanth. Then we play the Armor Shark because we are playing the XC Armor Fortress, and it's what helps make Neptibus like an actual 1-card combo. So yeah, that's why I'm playing the Armor Shark. Then we got 2 Poseidra in the main, mainly because it's an extender, and it does help proc your Dragoons or your Prince or your Shadow Squad, but it's also useless going first because, I mean, it's on summon effects, there's nothing to bounce. But in a long grindy game, Poseidra does actually become very, very helpful. If you're playing a go second list, definitely play all 3 Poseidra in the main, because this card is just, it's literally a custom card. It helps you break boards while starting your combos. Yeah, this card is just super, super good. Then we got Triple Teus. I'm still playing Triple Teus. I think some players are opting to cut it down to 2 and 1. But I still like it for consistency because it searches out your Abyss Rhine. And if you literally have no other ways to make plays, Abyss Rhine gets you into Coelacanth, which literally just starts a combo for you. So yeah, I play Triple Teus for consistency. Area, I've thought about cutting it, but I needed cards in the deck to make it above 40, just because I wanted to lessen the chance of seeing my bricks. So I threw Area in because it's not a bad card. It's just essentially another copy of almost anything in the deck. So, and it procs your water effects too, so Area is just nice to have. But anyways, next we got Triple Dragoons, self-explanatory. I mean, if you're not playing Triple Dragoons, what are you doing? Triple Abyss Rhine. I know some players are actually playing this at 2. I've debated about cutting it down to 2, but I think 3 is good for consistency, but 2 is probably optimal. I can see the reasoning for 2, because you don't really abuse Abyss Rhine that much. So I could see the reasoning for 2, and plus you're usually searching this, off of the Abyss Pike or the Teus. So yeah, I can see why you would play 2. And then we're playing 1 copy of Abyss Gun, because it's part of the combo that I do with the Neptibus. Triple Deep Sea Minstrel. So Deep Sea Minstrel, I know a lot of players are actually cutting Minstrel to 1. And I just can't seem to really understand the reasoning. Cause like the thing is, Shifter, sure, you're not gonna be able to rip Shifter out of their hand, because if you activate Minstrel, they're gonna chain Shifter, or they're just gonna shotgun Shifter on your draw phase or your standby phase. So Shifter, you're not avoiding that. But Droll, on the other hand, you can avoid. And like the thing is, a lot of players say like, oh, Minstrel is a great card. If you see it going first, you're basically winning the game, because you get to look at your opponent's hand, get hand knowledge, and you get to rip out that Droll or rip out a hand trap that they have in their hand. But like the thing is, they're not gonna see Minstrel in their starting hand because they're only playing 1. And I understand the idea that it's a Sea Serpent, so you can search it with Dragoons. But it's like, none of the other hand traps really hurt you that badly, aside from Droll. So it's like, you want the Minstrel in your hand so you can rip the Droll out. And if you use Dragoons to search the Minstrel, you're getting Drolled right then and there if they have it. And then Minstrel's pretty much useless, unless you're trying to snipe out like another hand trap that they have. But Droll is like the biggest one. Because if your opponent doesn't know how to play against Mermail and they don't know where to hand trap you, they're gonna waste their Ash on Prince, and if you dump Shadow Squad, you're good to go. I understand that maybe people are running only 1 to cut down the, just so they don't brick on the Minstrel. Because I've heard that some people are complaining about bricking on Minstrel, that's why they're cutting it down to like 2 and 1. But for me personally, at least, I have rarely bricked on Minstrel. Like almost every starting hand I've had that's had Minstrel in it was usually never a brick. You can go Prince, you can use his effect to dump something, dump Shadow Squad or Dragoons, whichever one, and then add Abyss Rhine just to play around the Droll if they do have it, which I guess still works. But if you do that, you're gonna have to use Abyss Rhine to just go into Coelacanth. So yeah, I'm playing the 3 Minstrel. I'm still a firm believer in playing 3. If there's something that I'm just not seeing, then please feel free to let me know in the comments below. But again, 3 Minstrel has been working just fine for me. And I guess like if 1 Minstrel and 2 Minstrel is working out for you guys, then I can't really say much either. But yeah, I guess that's enough about Minstrel. I'm just rambling too much. Next, we got Triple Shadow Squad. This is self-explanatory. I mean, this is literally another way that bridges into your Prince. So yeah, the Shadow Squad's just super good for the deck too, for consistency. And then next I'm playing Triple Deep Sea Diva. So Diva is it's the worst 1 card starter in the deck, because it doesn't help you play through anything. It doesn't help you like play around anything in particular, because Neptibus alone can get towed out by your 5th summon, so you're Nibiru proof. And then Deep Sea Diva, you cannot. Toad will come out on your 6th summon. Bahamut Shark will be your 5th. So yeah, Diva, it's a bad card. But I am opting to play it because, or at 3, because, well, first things first, the 3rd Diva is supposed to be a triple pike. So if I had a 3rd pike, this would be double Diva and triple pike. But I don't have triple pike, so I'm playing triple Diva instead. But anyways, what Diva adds to the deck is another playset of 1 card starters, which is nice to have. And another thing, this deck has many ways to get your combo started and many ways to get into Prince. So my theory for playing Diva is it helps consistency, yes, but it's also Ash bait. It's also just hand trap bait. Because Mermail is a really old deck. Deep Sea Diva has been used in Mermail for like years and years and years. So a lot of people already know what Diva does. So if you normal summon Diva, they know that's a huge choke point. So it's going to be very easy for your opponent to just shotgun a hand trap on your Deep Sea Diva. So that was the idea behind me playing Deep Sea Diva, is because if I have a way to get into Prince, like let's say I have, I guess, would just say Teus and Shadow Squad. Then I'll just normal summon Diva, or attempt to activate effect, and then let's say they Ash the Diva. Okay, that means Shadow Squad is safe from Ash. Or if they Impulse Diva, then that means Shadow Squad is safe from Impulse. So Diva eats up a hand trap, and then we just go Teus, effect, discard Shadow Squad, special Teus, Shadow Squad in Engrave chain 1, and then Teus chain 2. Again, to summarize, adds another playset of 1-card starters in the deck, and then it's also hand trap bait. Then we play 1 copy of Heavy Infantry. I was playing 2 originally. Actually, I was playing 3 originally, but then I found that 3 was a little too much for going first, so I cut it down to 2. I liked 2 for a while because I didn't need the 3rd one that much, and 2 was working out fine for me. But then I came across an issue where I was bricking on infantry going first. So to optimize, I decided to cut the 2nd infantry and just side it instead. So yeah, we're just playing the 1 infantry in the main, and it's been working out fine for me, just because Poseidra can bounce stuff on summon anyways. So in terms of board breaking during game 1 in like a grindy game, I think Poseidra and the Heavy Infantry and the Poseidra Abyss, they're fine for breaking boards for game 1 on their own. And then we have Triple Prince, self-explanatory, best card in the deck. It's literally, some are arguing that it's a better starter than Snake Eyes Ash. So yeah, Prince is insane. For the spells, we play 2 copies of the Triple Tactics Talents. This helps break boards, and it's a very scary card for your opponent to have to deal with. So yeah, it's a good card, breaking boards, also helps you draw 2, helps you hand loop your opponent for another card, which is also really nice. We got 1 Called by the Grave for the Shifter, and another out to Droll, and it's also an out to the Mulcharmies. And then next, we got the Abyss Scale of the Kraken and of the Mizuchi. So Mizuchi is one of the cards that a lot of players are like, okay, you know, I understand why you play this. Some players are cutting this. I think a lot of players are cutting this because it's unneeded from what I've been hearing. But a lot of people will understand why we play Mizuchi, because it is still a good card to end your board on, or to have on field during your opponent's turn. But I'm sure a lot of Mermail players will be scratching their head at why I play Kraken. So Kraken is the monster negate version of the Mizuchi, and the reason why I'm playing Kraken is because mainly I wanted to be able to abuse Mermail King's equip effects a lot more, like to its full potential. Because I know a lot of lists are just using the Mermail King for the targeting protection, which is still really good. Like, don't get me wrong, that's great, that's fine and dandy. And then the only card they search out with the Mermail King is the Abyss Sting as a Monster Reborn, which is also fine. But in order to maximize my negations, I wanted to play the Abyss Scales. And like another thing, this deck doesn't set up monster negates. I mean, excluding the Totally Awesome as an Omni Negate and the Gaios as Skill Drain. Because I'll be honest, most of the time I don't really end on Gaios. I'd rather end on like other things. So having Kraken as another form of monster negation, interruption for your opponent to have to bait out, it's just really nice to have. I've bricked on these a couple of times. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you guys and say I've never bricked on these. I have bricked on these a couple of times and it does suck. But I like having the utility of it, so that's why I'm playing it. And then in the side deck, as you guys can see, I am playing Cetus in the side deck, and nobody is playing Cetus. But the reason why I decided to side deck it, I was actually maining it for a while, along with the other 2. But then, like, I realized trap decks aren't really that prominent at the moment. I mean, I guess you could say Malice is kind of a trap deck, because they do utilize their traps on their turn 1. But aside from Malice and like other trap decks like Labyrinth, there's not a lot of trap decks running around, or a lot of decks running around with problematic traps where Cetus is needed game 1. So yeah, I just side the Cetus, and then I side it in going game 2 or 3 depending on the matchup. Because the thing is, for traps, it's much more difficult to bait out Cetus because, I mean, traps are slower. It just takes more time and effort typically to bait out Cetus. But yeah, that's why I'm playing it. And then I do play the 1 copy of Triana, just because Monster Reborn, it comes in handy. and it's nice to have. And also it recycles. So yeah, it's a nice card. Then I'm playing triple Imperm. So Imperm is a good hand trap, and I wanted to play hand traps in the deck that didn't conflict with the Fishborg launcher. So that's why I'm playing Imperm. You could argue playing Perulia, but I do not own Perulia. Then next I'm playing one Virtue Stream because we're playing La Virtue Dragon, and the value Virtue Stream and La Virtue Dragon bring to the deck, I think it's just too good not to play. Because Virtue Stream, it's essentially Sword Soul Blackout. People say it's like Icarus Attack. That's incorrect. It's way more like Sword Soul Blackout, because Icarus Attack, you tribute a winged beast, and you can tribute them face down. Whereas Virtue Stream, you cannot target a face down fish, sea serpent, or aqua. So in that sense, it is much more like Sword Soul Blackout. You target a fish, sea serpent, or aqua monster you control, and 2 cards your opponent controls, and destroy them. So really good. You go 2 for 2, essentially. And then it has a graveyard effect where you can banish this card from your graveyard, target 1 face-up monster on the field. If it's a water monster, the next time it would be destroyed by card effect this turn, it is not destroyed. So it provides card effect destruction protection, so that's also really nice. And then also it's got a neat effect where if it's not a water monster, it becomes a water. And so like a neat little thing you can do is let's say your opponent normal summons Lurry, you have Virtue Stream engrave. You can banish Virtue Stream, target that Lurry, and then Lurry becomes a water fiend. So they cannot go into Requiem. Cuts them out of their Requiem, their Fiendsmith lines, and yeah, it's just a nice utility to have under your belt as well, alongside all the other things it does. And then for the extra deck, I play 1 copy of Ice Jade. I'm not playing the main deck Ice Jade just because I was trying to thin the deck out to 43. And so, yeah, I ended up just cutting the main deck Ice Jade. And honestly, I haven't missed it, because even when I did have it in the deck, I was rarely ever going for it. So, yeah, I can't say I miss it. And this card is also really good against Kashtira cards. It's good against Malice, because they can't banish any of your stuff. So Cryptor becomes useless. The MTP07 becomes useless as well, because it won't be able to, well, not really useless. They do still get to add, but they're not going to be able to banish a card on the field. But I mean, I suppose they can banish like your spells and traps, but I mean, they're not going to break your monsters on field. I personally play Ice Shade over the Xiong. Xiong I've wanted to try, I wanted to play, but I just found Ice Jade to be much more impactful and much more safer than the Xiong. But I do like the idea behind using Xiong in conjunction with the Abyss Rhine, because during your opponent's turn you can banish the Abyss Rhine, draw or discard a card and then draw one, and then Xiong's effect will activate, allowing you to banish a card on your opponent's field and in graveyard. So that's also really nice. But I thought about it, I was like, using Xiong against Malice is not really good, because if you banish their cards, you're literally just helping them. They come back out. But against Raizio, I mean, Xiong is good. I think Xiong is better at dealing with the Raizio board than Ice Jade is. But I think Ice Jade was just a safer bet, so that's why I'm playing the Ice Jade. Then 1 Dragite, Spell and Trap Negation, it's still really strong. Poseidra, because we need it for combos, and it's a really good card, because it can bounce stuff, break boards. Gaios is also a really good card. OG Mermail boss monster. Skill drain for your opponent. And it's also a counter to Tenpai if we ever run into those. And then we play 1 copy of Dark Knight Lancer. I like Dark Knight Lancer's version of board wiping. Or not board wiping, but like Dark Knight Lancer's spot removal is much more unique. Because I don't want to send my opponent's cards to the graveyard where they can still have access to them, or like have access to recycling them back. So I'd rather just use Dark Knight Lancer's effect to take it away completely, and have them go through Dark Knight Lancer to get it back if they really needed it. Then we play 1 Abyss Strike. It extends your plays by monster reborning on summon. And it's also, it feels way better to overlay Poseidra onto Abyss Strike than it does to do it on Gaios. And then its secondary effect where it can set a Abyss Trap. I want to make use of this, just to make use of its full potential and its full effects. But the thing is, there's not really a good Abyss Trap in the deck, or in the archetype right now. Because if we look at the Abyss Traps, we have Abyss Squall, which is just Poseidra's effect, essentially. The XC Poseidra's effect. You target 3 mermails in your graveyard, special summon them face up in defense. Their effects are negated, and they cannot declare an attack, but destroy them during the end phase. So it's like if you activate this on your opponent's end phase, you're not getting those monsters back. You just summon them out, they go back to the grave, and that's it. And then Abyss Team, I know a lot of people are using this. If you're running hand traps in your build, I'd say Abyss Team is worth running. But for my list specifically, because I'm not running hand traps, I am opting to not play the Abyss Team, just because I feel like I don't need it. And then Abyss Scorn, you're just buffing a Mermail monster by 1,000, which is not that great. Abyss Strum, I mean, this technically you can set this too, but this is only if you're playing Umi. Now, if you didn't need to send Umi to gain the effect of sending all spell and traps on the field to the graveyard, then this card would be good to play. But because you have to play Umi, then yeah, this card's bad. Then Abyss Sphere, I know a lot of people are playing Abyss Spheres, and honestly, I really wanted to as well, just because I wanted to flex my ulti Abyss Sphere, but realistically and optimally, this card is not needed. And people say like, oh yeah, you can summon Abyss Sphere, or not summon, activate Abyss Sphere and then summon Pike from your deck. And then you can use Pike's effect to discard the Prince in your hand, or Dragoons, or Heavy Infantry in your hand as cost. You won't gain the effect, but you can still pitch for cost. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool and all, that's cute, but you don't need Sphere, because you'll have plenty of ways of discarding your cards from your hand. Because 9 times out of 10, you're gonna end on an Abyss Lacia, and Abyss Lacia can pitch these cards for you. And 9 times out of, honestly, 9.5 times out of 10, 9.9 times out of 10, you're gonna have Abyss Rhine in the graveyard. So you'll have a way to pitch your cards. So yeah, it's just Abyss Sphere, as much as I want to play it too, I just don't see a good reason to. Like, there's no real reason to. It just becomes another brick in the deck. So yeah, that's why I'm not playing it. But back to the extra deck, the Armor Fortress, literally just playing it for the Armor Shark to help make Prince become an actual 1-card combo. Then we have double Bahamut Shark. This is standard, but only if you're playing double Toad, which I am not. So you're probably looking at this and saying like, oh, why are you playing double Bahamut Shark if you're just playing 1 Toad? I could play double Toad, I just choose not to. It's just a personal preference, I just choose not to. Double Toad is strong, double Toad is good, don't get me wrong. I just prefer not to play double Toad. But anyways, we have the Virtue Dragon, totally awesome, self-explanatory. Zealantis, I am playing because we have the Coral Anemone, but also mainly just because we don't really have a way to board break in the deck that's not water. And like, I want to play things like Zeus and like SP and Typhon, but like, those cards are not water, and we lock ourselves into water like very, very easily. To make it easier on my brain, I opted to just play Zealantis as my board breaker card, just because I didn't want to like have to think about, oh, I gotta do this before I do this, so I don't lock myself into waters, so I can still Zeus, or I can still Typhon. So this was just a personal choice to make things more simple for myself. We play 1 King, Mermail King. This card's great. I wanted to play 2, but no room. Coral Anemone, I want to play 2, but no room. Even though I feel like I might end up making room for it at some point. Because the reason I want to play 2 is because the first one is used in the combo to go into King. And then like, I like having the second one for a grind game to go into Zealantis as a clapback. So yeah, that's why I want to play a second one, but I don't know. I need to find something to cut for a second one if I do play it. But yeah, anyways, we play 1 Abyss Lacia. This is self-explanatory. This is almost in, I think this is in every single Mermail list right now, because this card is just too good. But the side deck, we got the 3rd Poseidra for going seconds, and for the regionals, I gotta give shout outs to Houa, Xiong, for allowing me to borrow his Poseidra. He wasn't using it, he wasn't playing Mermail. He's not playing Mermail yet. I think he will be soon, or eventually. But he let me borrow a copy of Poseidra, so shoutouts to him. The 3rd copy definitely came in clutch. And also, if you guys want to see his deck profile, Houa Xiong, he actually won 1st place at the OKC Regional. And the deck profile is up on the channel. He actually goes in depth in his deck profile and his deck building choices and his theories. So yeah, if you're interested in that, go check it out. But anyways, for the next card, we play Triple Lancia. This is for Malice. We play one Ghost Sister. So this was my one-time card in the deck. And the reason why we play one Ghost Sister is because, for those of you who do not know, Abyss Pike can search the Ghost Sister. Because Ghost Sister is a level 3 water monster, which Pike searches. And in the tournament, Ghost Sister actually came up. And if you guys want to hear how Ghost Sister ended up coming up for me in the regionals, again, the link to the vlog will be in the description below. And then again, we played the second Heavy Infantry in the side deck. For going second, we sided in. Next, we played 2 copies of Blink Out. So Blink Out is a card I wanted to try testing against Malice. Because on paper, it seemed good. Because if they summon Whitebinder, they'll activate the effect on summon, targeting cards to banish. And then you can chain Blink Out to it. Or you can just wait till resolution, doesn't matter. Activate Blink Out, target the Whitebinder, bounce it back before they can even attempt to set a Malice trap. So in that scenario, they won't get access to the GWC. Or another thing that I've been trying out, that's also been proving to be just as effective, is waiting for them to activate their GWC. On their turn, if they're activating the GWC, I've seen some plays where like they'll banish the Whitebinder and then summon something else, Whitebinder effect to pay 900, special summon back. They'll draw 1 on resolution, we'll blink out the Whitebinder back to the extra deck, so they won't have access to it. They're gonna have to hard make it again if they want access to it. Then like another thing is you can blink out the Terahertz, you can blink out the Abao, which has been very, very fun to do. Because if they go Abao effect, discard for cost. If they're using the, like, regardless of which effect they're using, preferably when they're using the banish it until the end of the turn and then special summon from the grave, you can blink out the Abao. Abao will not get banished, so they won't get the special summon. So they just went -1 for no reason. And then like Fiendsmith, you can blink out the Sequence, or if they use the Ignumde, summon out the Desiree back from the grave. On activation, when it targets, you can chain Blink Out, send the Ignumde back. Desiree still comes out, but it won't have the Ignumde equipped to it. Like, the most they'll get from that point is just Desiree with Sequence, which is still good, because Sequence is the one that gives it the targeting protection. But it won't be like a 5k beat stick, so it'll be easier to out. And Blink Out, you can also use it to bounce back your own Link monsters, which it hasn't come up for me yet, but it's an option. Overall, I'd say Blink Out has been good to me, but I don't really have a strong opinion about it just yet. But anyways, yeah, on to the next card, Triple Book of Eclipse. I decided to play it over XC Encore because some of my buddies who were helping me build my side deck, they were saying like Eclipse is good because it covers more ground. It helps in the Raizio matchup by setting everything face down, so they won't be able to cross anything, and they won't be able to detonator anymore. And then it also helps me with my rogue matchups. So just in general, it just covered more ground. So I understood that idea, and I decided to go with it because I was like, okay, you know what? That makes sense. And then we went to regional, and I forgot Abyss Dweller is a card. I completely forgot Abyss Dweller was a card that people were using. And yeah, after running into a bunch of Abyss Dwellers, Book of Eclipse will definitely be coming out for the Triple XC Encore. Yeah, I personally wanted to run Encore from the get-go before the regional, but because I forgot about Dweller, and because my buddies were all making very good, valid reasonings to play Eclipse over Encore, yeah, that's why I played Eclipse over Encore. But yeah, for sure, definitely gonna be playing Encore. Then Cetus, I explained. D-Barrier, just a really good card. Yeah, it's just a good card to draw. And yeah, that is the deck profile. That's my reasonings for why I ran certain cards and why I ran certain ratios. I will not be doing a combo in this video just because this video, I feel like it's going to be long, and I wanted to take more time to explain certain cards. So I don't want this video being like over an hour long. I don't think a deck profile should ever be like an hour long, even though this one might be close. But yeah, I have a few combos I do want to show off, so I'll probably be making a separate video for that. So if you guys are interested in seeing that, please subscribe to the channel so you guys can stay notified on when that comes out. Yeah, that's it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are in the comment section below. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.